Welcome. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for the City of Huntsville, June 28th, 2016. Thank everyone who's here tonight for participating. As we go through the agenda, we'll have several items that will require public hearings, and I ask if you're here for a public hearing, make your comments brief and to the point, and we'll listen to them. And I don't think we have a lot of people here tonight to make public comments, but if your neighbor or someone else has the same comments that you're planning to make, just rest assured that we hear everybody, so you don't need to repeat anything. I'm Janet Watson. I'm chairman of the Planning Commission, and I'm going to ask all of the other members to introduce themselves, starting down on the end.
Brady Jordan.
Carlos Matthews.
Donna Hendricks.
TJ Mears.
Gary Whitley.
Sally Warden. Peggy Richard.
Kyle Collins.
Captain Jeffrey Rice.
Kelly Scrimshire.
Michelle Jordan, Planning Department.
And in addition, we have several members of the Planning Department of the city, plus the legal department here to make sure that we follow the rules and guidelines, and and keep us on track. Our first item of business is adoption of the minutes for May 24th. Has everyone had a chance to look those over?
So move.
Any corrections or additions? All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Our next item of business is public hearings. First on the hearing list is Caldwell Lane subdivision, a minor.
Caldwell Lane subdivision, a minor, is located Southwest City, west of King Drake Road and south of Caldwell Lane. This item is zone R1A and is approximately 20.78 acres. This item also has some floodway, and within dividing of the floodway, the item follows the flood fringe or the floodway boundary, which allowing for the property to be subdivided.
Is there anyone here to comment on Caldwell Lane subdivision? Yes, sir. Would you go to a microphone at the side of the room and give us your name and address for the record, please?
Thank you. I'm Ron Guthrie, Guthrie. I live at 2508 Caldwell Park Court. And my
yes.
property backs up right up against the proposed one of the two lots of the division.
Okay, and do you have some comment on?
Yes, I just wanted to voice my concerns. It's primarily about the flooding that we encounter where we live. We have pictures here of the back of this is a house 2 or 3 houses away from us. We've seen that entire lot, the 20-acre lot, pre-subdivided, go completely underwater several times in the several years I've lived there. That includes complete coverage of Caldwell Lane itself, which is our access to and from 431. My concern is if you fill in a big chunk of that lot and raise up the land, where is that water going to go? It already comes right up the 8 feet embankment into our lot. The water comes that high. I understand. So that's my largest concern, is where will that water go? Not to mention, of course, any building on that property will, deflate our property values because we live there because of the view, and that will, of course, be lost. So those are my concerns.
Before you leave, and normally we don't interact too much, but I want to ask if that's your fence.
It's hers.
It's yours.
She had the pictures. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's made from the back of your house? Okay, both pictures. Can you show us both pictures again, Thomas? This is the left-hand view. Mm-hmm. And it shows all the way over the forest area at the end of the lowland there. Mm-hmm. And this is to the right, and you can see it's covering Caldwell Lane, our exit, and into the property next to it. Mm-hmm. And this is a minor plat. How's
That would be correct. This is a minor plat. There's all properties, the property has sewer. The property also has frontage already. There's no construction of roads needed. So the reason why this item is before you is primarily for an angle of side lot line. We do have requirements on subdividing of floodplain, and from this display that I have here, you can see the floodway. This light blue area is the 100-year and therefore the 500-year floodway boundary, which is capable of being subdivided. This particular property owner is seeking to divide that land just along the floodway boundary, creating that 3.5 acre tract. So the owner is aware of the flooding on the property and still seeks to subdivide the floodway from the fringe.
Okay. Would you mind giving us your name and address for the record? Thank you. Thank you. Did you have any further comments? Yes. And you've already given us your name, so. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, my concerns on this is my retirement. When I moved from Illinois, my one request was that I have a home that faced west and that I saw the mountains. And I checked several areas, and this was the area that I decided was the area I wanted, because they had said that because this was a flood area, it would never be built on, and that was pretty much what we were told. So my big concern is, this is my retirement, this home and my property. And what is going to happen now when I paid extra money to have this view and this property, and now that homes are going to be built directly behind me, because that's right where I'm at the end there, what is going to happen to the valuation of my lot, the valuation of the extra money that I put in for the view, and also the flooding issue? What is going to happen to the drainage of my property? Those are my main concerns. And my ability to be able to get out of the subdivision and going to shopping or to doctors and things like that. And yes, Ken Drake is there, another road that goes out and takes us up over the mountain. The only problem is that's a very two-lane, or barely two-lane narrow highway with very steep drop-offs at the sides. And part of the time, when it's raining and flooding like it is there, it's almost impassable on some of that King Drake because of the way the water rushes across there. So it could literally, flood us into where we cannot get out of our homes. So those are my concerns.
Good evening. I live in everybody's neighborhood, as you know. I'm Jackie Reed at Jack Coleman Drive. When I see some of the things that come in here, and when I see this tonight, if the city is going to do anything down there to help that area, they need to do it first to help the area before they allow any development. And I'm for development, don't get me wrong. But it's got to be in the right place at the right time and not put everybody else to hardship. But if the city's got some ideas and they're going to go do some, tell them to run and do them right quick and let these people come back and develop that land. Thank you.
I'm Susan Guthrie, 2508 Caldwell. Well, I'm a bit of an emotional voice, and I'm really grateful that you're hearing us. I don't believe a survey team has witnessed or videoed long enough to see the regular flooding of not only the lots proposed for construction, but the entire acreage. No matter what it's called, a plain, a way, 100 years or 500 years, the entire area is a wetland. We have been able to show you photographs of the area as a giant lake merely 6 months ago. And that would be far above the 1 foot raising of earth that we are told is all that is needed for a homeowner's safety. My husband witnessed animal lives succumb to the depth of the water. Why would you approve zoning for construction on any of this land and of homes when our development and the retirement condominiums across Caldwell Lane already report severe drainage problems and flooding? Caldwell Lane is unpassable at times of flooding. Experts explain the cost to make this ready for building construction and the required inspections astronomical. And it just seems like it is idiocy to pursue this construction, or the developer thinks they can build a home and sell it to an unsuspecting home buyer before the actual propensity for flooding will be found out. As homeowners adjacent to this area, zoning and subsequent construction puts us in harm's way and lowers our property values. Other homeowners in our development feel the same. There is so much other land to develop safely. There is a possibility that the new landowner or developer was misled as to the construction worthiness to make the sale and may or may not know the evidence that we are presenting this evening. Perhaps they would like to discover unloading it. I'm at 2508 Caldwell. Thank you.
That would be correct. That would be correct. No, there is no future subdivision at this time. This is only for a subdivision of one lot. Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry. None of that went on the, I had my mic turned off, so I will repeat that. This is, thank you, Gary. This is zoned, 1A,
R1A,
correct?
yes.
And there was only two lots in this subdivision. Is there anything planned, is there any future subdivision planned of this 3.5 acres?
At this time, we have not been privileged to such subdivision of land.
Okay.
We are aware that the way was being subdivided from the fringe and creating one lot, which therefore is capable of being subdivided for the intent of one development.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Is there any further comment? Hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is HOBBSTONE subdivision. Is there anyone here who would like to speak regarding HOBBSTONE subdivision?
HOBBSTONE, before anyone speaks, I'd like to present the item.
Oh, I'm
HOBBSTONE
sorry.
subdivision is zoned.
May I interrupt again? We have not voted yet, so if you folks want to, there will be more discussion from this panel later when we get through the public hearing. So you look like you're about to leave, and you certainly may if you want to, but the meeting's not over yet. So we're not just leaving your item, we're just proceeding with the public hearing portion of our agenda. Okay, I'm sorry, Thomas.
HOBBSTONE subdivision is zone R2 and is 28.19 acres. It is Southwest City, west of South Memorial Parkway and south of Redstone Road. If you recall, this was a part of the Redstone rezoning from C4 to R2, which became effective as of May 5th, 2016, allowing for this subdivision to now be presented to you for layout and preliminary of 67 lots.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to comment on HOBBSTONE subdivision? Yes, sir.
My name is Robert Getman. I live at 2737 Slate Drive, and I come right up to the back property of this new development. When I bought my house a couple years ago, I knew that vacant lot was up for sale, commercial. I did worry that what would be built back there. I've enjoyed a stupendous view of Huntsville Mountain and Green Mountain out my backyard, and I'm going to miss that when it all gets developed. But I'm a realist. I'd rather see homes go in there than commercial, so we're headed in the right direction. Having been there a couple of years, I've seen some flooding as well. Nothing as dramatic as what was out on Caldwell Lane, but I have a flume that runs behind my house for draining the area, and I've seen it, the water backed up to the Tennessee River to the point where that water doesn't even move. So just to let you know. I've observed lots of wildlife out in that field, coyotes, lots of birds. I've had a chance to glance at the plans, and I appreciate that. And I've noticed they put in a common area that will abut my property and go up the slope to where this development begins. And I applaud that. That'll be a very nice feature. I am curious what they'll do with that common area. If they'll build a good buffer, put in some nice bushy trees, for example, to give us some privacy in our backyards. Because my lot slopes down so abruptly in the very back, I have a 6-foot fence at the back of my property. But because of the slope, that fence will not offer me any privacy against any development that goes in there. So again, that's my concern, is maintaining some privacy. Again, I've looked at the plans and I noticed these lots are very small. The lot size that I am on is about 75 feet wide, and the lots that are going in are only 60 feet wide, which means much smaller homes. And because of that, I'm a little bit worried about property value for me. Also worried about the quality of homes that'll go in, the size of the homes, and the community that will grow from that. I would really rather see larger homes going in. That's all I've got.
Thank you, sir. What is the zoning on this? Is it R2A?
It's R2.
R2, and the minimum width on R2 lots?
60 foot?
60 foot. So they're meeting the guidelines for that zoning.
Correct.
Thank you for your comments, and I would say that if you have questions about the what will go into the common area, you might speak with the engineer later, who's probably has a representative here tonight, that can tell you what might go into that common area. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else to speak regarding HOBBSTONE subdivision? Hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is Mill Run Phase 4, a re-subdivision of Mill Run Phase 3 of Hampton Cove. Thomas?
Mill Run Phase 4 is located southeast city, north of Old Highway 431 and west of Mill Run Road. This item had been before you for Phase 2 development in May of 2015 for 2 lots, and also a Phase 3 development of September 2015 for 3 lots. But at this time, they're re-subdividing to go back to 2 lots with a waiver of an angle of side lot line. This item is zone C1, is approximately 9.73 acres.
Is there anyone here tonight to comment on Mill Run Phase 4? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Judith Gibson.
Would you speak up just a little bit?
Judith Gibson. My address is 3006 Willow Trace Circle, Southeast, Hampton Cove. I'm the owner of the corner lot that abuts this, 3010 the Green Court. Is anybody else here from the from that area, especially the Green Court? Well, from previous discussions with the neighbors, we understand that it's going to be an assisted living facility built there. That does not worry any of the neighbors because we all say we may need it one day. The concerns we have are, and I have a list of them, with the access for construction and then the access later for everyone who comes into that corner, they will have to access from Mill Run Road. If you look at that map and you see that little cross, that's the beginning of a street that was named last year, and now the street name is gone. To get there, you've got a curve in the road. Any big construction vehicles coming in there, overloaded with concrete and all equipment, have to come, make that turn to get into the property. We are very concerned about the damage to Mill Run Road with all this heavy weight coming in, which will take months, maybe years. We're also concerned about when they're coming in to work in the mornings or in and out at any time of the day, they're going to prevent the neighbors, anyone north of there, access to Old Highway 431, people going to work, trying to get children to school. That is a dead end. If they cannot get through that intersection, there will be many, many problems. So we have been requesting that they change the entrance to that lot off of Old Highway 431 so that they don't mess up Mill Run Road and our access to and from our homes. We're concerned about one big building with many, many residents and how they will handle the sewage problems and how they will handle the drainage problems. We had seen on a drawing from the previous person who was trying to build that he had a retention pond. We don't know whether or not there's going to be a retention pond, but no matter what, that's going to cause a problem, a change in our ability to drain our property. The property now is not in a flood zone, but we know there's flooding that comes in all kinds of ways. So we're very concerned about how the sewage and drainage will be handled in that acreage. We're concerned about the noise, especially of construction. And then later, we don't know where the buildings will be set. We don't know how tall the buildings will be. We don't know what kind of outside lightings the buildings will have that would then shine into our own homes. We don't know if there'll be windows in their buildings that will look down into our homes. So a lot of things we are concerned about. It's all in the construction and the planning. It's not in the use of the property. If it is for assisted living, that's fine. We're very concerned about the parking. There's not much space in there. And I want to make this comment this way. My mother was in assisted living, and I don't remember how many people were in the building, but some of the residents had their own cars. There were also a lot of staffers who had to come, and there were also a lot of visitors, and you'd have birthday parties for your grandma, and you'd get a large number of people. At her home, they had so few parking spaces that people had to go to the adjacent lots, which were grass back then. That's in South Louisiana. If people run out of space to park in this, they will have to go to Mill Run Road where there's no parking, in front of our homes where there's no parking. So where will they go? We understand that the architecture will, through the zoning committee, will be acceptable. It will not diminish our property. I think there will be a natural reduction in the value of our property because it will be so close to this large facility. We don't know when this project is expected to start, how long it will take to complete. We've noticed the construction of the assisted living or senior living next to Mellow Mushroom on Carl T. Jones. It must be a good year now that all they've done is dug holes, moved rocks. So what kind of troubles are we going to have? How much disturbance of our lives are we going to have when they start building? So I'm here to give a list of the concerns we have. I hope that there's someone I can address these concerns to who can give me answers. I think Mr. Nunez, you said I should speak to the engineer who is, what is his name?
That would be correct. It was, I think Billy Smith. Mrs. Smith, if you have any information regarding this property, could you provide it at this time?
I'm Billy Smith, Smith Engineering. I have previously designed several different facilities on this property and met with the neighbors there. You also, I think about 3 different times that we've done plans on it. This particular, and we are representing the developer, same developer that was a fellow by the name of Jeff Tallman out of Franklin, Tennessee, and we're representing him right tonight only on this plat. We are not involved in the re-engineering at this particular time. I personally have not seen the proposed drawings proposed. There may be some that's come through my office, but I just haven't personally been involved in that. Have y'all from the planning, Jim McGuffey and some of the planners can speak better on the, you know, what is proposed there than I can. But I really have, as she said, I can tell you all about the previous ones, which is a moot point now. There was detention ponds in there, and I assume there's probably detention ponds provided in this
Those
also.
probably will be required to
It'd probably
make
be
the
required by the city.
drainage
Yes.
work properly
Correct,
for both
But,
that lot and for the adjoining properties.
but,
There was one thing that Ms. Gibson brought up that I wanted to ask. She mentioned access off the eastern bypass. Is that a limited access road? Can there be another
there can be an access off of
a construction?
the old, I call it Eastern Bypass or old 431. Yes, the previous site that I did the engineering on did have a dual access, one on that road, and of course the other one that's stubbed in there now. Also.
Okay. And then thank you, Mr. Smith.
Sure.
I think that there are, you know, as far as commercial properties, the city has some lighting guidelines that have to be followed. That they can, you know, they can't light it up like a ballpark, or an airport runway. You know, but those are things that you could speak with city planning about and find the correct phone number to discuss that with them. And also on the parking issues, there will be. Thomas, is there for an assisted living, is there a specific number of parking places that they're required to have?
I'm not sure. I will defer to Mr. McGuffey at that time. I can answer the question in regards to the planimetric, the lighting situation with around the boundary of the property. Lighting is not to therefore illuminate a separate property, so there are shields provided on the back to make sure that the lighting fixture is down to a 0% around the perimeter property as far as lighting. But in regards to the C1, I'm not sure of the requirement per assistant, the C1 requirement.
Can you tell us that, Mr. McGuffey?
Sure, I don't know the reg off the top of my head, but independent living, assisted living have regs. The site is compliant with the parking regs. There's a parking lot around the building, which is centered on the center of the property. Will be hooked up to the sanitary sewer system in the city of Huntsville, so all the sewer will be managed. The stormwater will be managed as well on site with retention ponds, and they plan on having 2 access points on this site. It's a fairly similar design to the last design on this property, so of course it'll meet all the zoning ordinance regulations and with approval today meet the subdivision regulations as well.
One thing I did address to the previous person who was involved with this plan before this, how are we going to keep people out of those retention ponds? Are you gonna have fences around these ponds? You have to think about two things, drivers and also people who are getting older and tend to wander. I've experienced both, where cars go in ditches and where people drown.
I think the parking lots will have curbing, and we'll leave it up to the staff of the nursing home to manage their clients to
They
make
can't,
sure.
they can't keep people from wandering into ditches or bayous and drowning. So I think that's something that should be addressed, and that's a safety concern that should be addressed.
I don't think that we have I don't think this panel has the authority to address those issues. I mean, we're just addressing the re-subdivision of this lot, not the specifics of how it's managed, how the assisted living will be managed, if that's what's built there.
Mr. Smith, do any of your staff have any pictures now or sketches now of what they plan to build there?
Possible, and I think Mr. McGuffey has probably seen, some preliminary. Is that not correct, Jen? I think you have seen more.
Would it be possible for me to see them?
Sure, just give our office a call, and once they've
And
submitted
ask
the
for
plans
you?
and their public record, we'll be more than happy to release those to you.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thanks. Is there anyone else to speak regarding Mill Run Phase 4 re-subdivision of Mill Run Phase 3 of Hampton Cove? Hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is Oak Grove at Farley Farm, Phase 7.
Oak Grove at Farley Farm Phase 7 is located southwest city, west of South Memorial Parkway, and north of Green Cove Road. This item is zoned R2B and is approximately 9.17 acres. Phase 6 of Oak Grove at Farley Farms was approved in November of 2015. The Phase 7 then continues the stub streets of Phase 6.
Is there anyone here to speak regarding Oak Grove at Farley Farm, Phase 7? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is Parkside Town Center, Phase 3.
Parkside Town Center Phase 3 is located southwest city, west of Research Park, and south of Old Madison Pike. This item is zoned Research Park Commercial and is zoned 3.21 acres.
Is there anyone here to speak regarding Parkside Town Center Phase 3? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is VIDUTA Village Subdivision.
VIDUTA Village Subdivision is a part of the planned unit development for VIDUTA Village. It is approximately 77 acres. It is located northeast city, east of Montesano Boulevard, and north of May Drive. The VIDUTA rezoning for this property was took effective as of May 6, 2016, which allows for the subdivision of the land currently. If you recall that this was the development that had 3 lot styles available with estate lots, villa/manor lots, and garden cottage lots.
Is there anyone here to speak regarding VIDUTA Village Subdivision? Yes, ma'am. Would you go to the microphone?
Hi, my name is Holly McCarty, and my address is 3020 VIDUTA Lane, Huntsville, obviously. So I live across the street from what is going to be the new planned subdivision. So I had just 2 concerns, really. I am somewhat concerned about the density, packing in 21 homes in that small area and there is a lot of wildlife there, and obviously this mountain community is concerned about preserving as much of that field and wildlife as possible. And my other concern is regarding the actual construction process. The school is a stone's throw from where the subdivision is going to be built, and my child, as well as many others in our community, ride their bikes and walk every day to school. And I'm concerned about the heavy construction traffic, the speed with which they'll be going down the road. It's a 2-lane road, and I'm concerned that there's the potential for an accident or something happening during that phase of the process, and really even with that many more people just traveling that road every day. But really the heavy construction does concern me, given the proximity to the school. And I don't know if there's a way to have them not start construction till after the school has started, or not have those trucks running through there till after school has started, or just be cognizant and aware, or perhaps, I don't know, extend the school zone to ensure, like I said, the safety of the children that walk and ride their bikes to school every day. That's my comments, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else to make comment?
Hi, I'm Linda Rollins. I live at 3607 May Drive. My property probably has the longest boundary with this new subdivision. Has the planning for the drainage been completed or worked on yet? Can anyone answer that?
Jim McGuffey, would you answer that?
Yeah, as with any subdivision, as it gets to the planning commission, the engineer of record, which is Foresight in this case, has submitted the city engineering department a full set of stormwater drainage plans.
Okay, and is there going to be a retention pond on the property?
If I remember correctly, they have 4 areas on this site that are going to manage the stormwater for the entire development.
Okay, would it be possible for me to see those?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. We can show you any of the plans that you'd like to see for the subdivision.
Okay, how would I do that?
We'll have them right here.
Okay, thank you.
While she's looking at the plans, is there anyone else to speak regarding VIDUTA Village subdivision? We'll wait just a moment to.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else to speak regarding VIDUTA Village subdivision? Hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is a street name a street name change, Chase Farm Boulevard to 1 Aviation Way.
Chase Farm Boulevard is located southwest city, south of I-565 and east of Swancott Road. We're requesting this street name change. This is the future site of the GE, and there has been a road constructed back to the GE site, which has the address or the name of 1 Aviation Way. And to seek not confusing individuals in this issue, we would seek to change the first 500 feet to make it consistent with the rest of the road to 1 Aviation Way. All property owners have been informed, and there is essentially one property that would be affected, which is the subway. And they have not received any complaints in regards to that particular name change from the subway or any other property owner at this time.
Is there anyone here to speak regarding changing the name from Chase Farm Boulevard to 1 Aviation Way. Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is zoning. Item A is WYNN rezoning. Ashley Nichols, would you? Give us the information we need.
This property is approximately 12.46 acres. It's located on the east side of WYNN Drive and on the north side of Old Madison Pike. This property is currently zoned a research park. The rezoning requests submitted by the petitioner, they would like to rezone this property from research park district to research park commercial. They have an intended user for this specific site, and that particular use is not a permitted use under our research park designation. It would be an option under our research park commercial, as this would be the only commercial district that planning staff will recommend within our research park district area.
Is there anyone here to speak regarding the WYNN rezoning? Yes, Ms. Reed.
Yes, ma'am. Is this part of changing all of Research Park out there that they're trying to change and redevelop? Is this part of that? Or is this a separate area sitting out there?
This is a separate area, Ms. Reed. This is not in conjunction with the Research Park Master Plan, which will be unveiled later this year.
It'll be in the next item or two, but no. Okay, I've got my eyes on Research Park. From Sparkman Drive through WYNN Drive. And I hope nobody goes through and changes that zoning, because I'm going to be here for the fire. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm going to be here for the next two.
Do we know what will be going in there?
We do not.
We do not. Okay. Is there anyone else, or do you have another comment,
No.
Ms. Reed?
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding the WYNN rezoning? Hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed. Item B is zoning ordinance amendment, PD shopping center and highway business deletion.
This is a housekeeping item. Currently, Article 32 and 33, which contain our planned development shopping center district as well as our highway commercial district regulations. These were created in the mid-'80s by a consultant who compiled all of our planned development language. Planning staff no longer has a use for this language. It has never been used, and it's a little bit too cumbersome to use, so we would just like to propose that we remove these articles in their entirety, as well as we would like to remove the parking language in Article 70 pertaining to the planned shopping center parking requirements in our efforts to consolidate the zoning ordinance.
Is there anyone here to comment on the proposed zoning ordinance amendment for planned development shopping center and highway business?
Same person, Jackie Reed, still standing.
Okay.
Anything you get to do, when you start changing the character and the personality of this city, it really concerns me a lot. We have changed in the last 8 years more character of this city than I've ever said about and seen for 30 years. So it really concerns me when you go in. Has this got anything to do with the mall? Anything to do with the Cummings Research Park? Is any of that in that to change that? Is that what this is about?
Can you answer that, Ashley?
Yes. No, ma'am, Ms. Reed, this is not concerning Madison Square Mall, the proposed Mid-City project, nor the Cummings Research Park future master plan. This is pertaining to planned development shopping center and highway business language that has never been used in the 30 years it's been in the zoning ordinance. This is merely just deleting this, these useless articles and making room for hopefully more future articles that contain the character you would like to see.
Thank you. Any further questions, Ms. Reed?
No, ma'am. Thank you, huh?
Okay.
No.
Is there anything, anyone else who would like to comment on the zoning ordinance amendment, zoning ordinance amendment for planned development shopping centers and highway business deletion? Hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is zoning ordinance amendment, undeveloped lot, amend Article 3, the definitions, and that's withdrawn. If that comes up again at a future date, we'll have another public hearing on it, but for tonight, it's withdrawn. Our next item is zoning, item D, zoning ordinance amendment, shared parking, amend Article 27, village business C6 district regulations.
Village Business C6 was created in 2015. Our current parking regulations that we have for the Village Business C6 district are in line with the other regulations that we have throughout the city, which are detailed in Article 70. Over the past 6 months or so, planning staff, we have been evaluating some shared parking language and looking at different ways that we could implement other parking alternatives to other districts, and C6 has been our main focus thus far. For this area, for C6, we would like to encourage that all single-tenant, individual retail tenant, multi-tenant retail trades, mixed use, and multifamily developments use shared parking. We have also created a chart that does have a separate required parking list if any of those users decided they did not want to go with any shared parking, and I will bring up a larger view of that. On the left side of the screen, there is a required parking. It's broken down based on use: residential, lodging, office, retail, and restaurant. Also, we have civic as well as other listed. Anything that would be basically classified under our civic or other required parking uses that are not listed above would all comply with our Article 70 requirements. Your civic would basically be any type of parks or any governmental uses. Anything that's residential, lodging, office, retail, or restaurant related would all have to adhere with our required parking language. If any uses decided that they wanted to use a shared parking format, they would go with the shared parking matrix on the right, which basically classifies, it will match two functions together, and you will basically take that matrix, multiply it times your square footage, and that's how you will get your overall parking factor, which is significantly lower in comparison to our current Article 70 language, as well as the required parking that's on the left side. If there was a case scenario where there may be residential, lodging, and office, or all four different uses, you would take the largest matrix or shared parking factor out of the group, and that's how you would derive your overall parking numbers. In planning staff, we did create some scenarios. Here we use an office, restaurant, retail scenario. This is based on our current language based in Article 70. Currently for restaurants, our parking requirements are a minimum of, at least 50% of the seating capacity. Retail is 1 space per 300 square feet, and office is currently 1 space per 400 square feet. So if there was a mixed-use building, or if there was a complex with these 3 types of uses, it will require 226 required spaces under our current zoning ordinance. if there was if any of these uses were located within our Village Business C6 district and they decided to go with the required parking, which is still here on the left-hand side, it would require 174 required spaces. And also an option if any of the uses decided to go with a shared parking scenario instead of the required parking, there's a huge reduction in the parking, which would be 145 spaces instead of 174 spaces in the previous scenario. Basically, planning staff would like to encourage this. We want to encourage more shared parking as well as alleviate some of our abundance of parking that we currently see in many of our districts. And within the Village Business C6 district, we would like to see more of a mixed use, more neighborhood feel, and that doesn't necessarily require a sea of parking to go along with that.
Thank you, Ashley.
Also, we will still require bicycle parking. That's required for all new construction, as well as planning staff also encourages the use of any available on-street and public parking that may be included within the overall calculation as well, if there is any available on-street or public parking nearby any of these future developments.
Thank you, Ashley. The public hearing time is here, and I ask if there's anyone who has any comments on zoning ordinance amendment shared parking to amend Article 27 Village Business C6 District Regulations. Mrs. Reed.
So we're reducing the required spaces for the restaurant, for the mixed use. We're coming everything with a mixed use sort of, kind of. So we're changing the structures of the parking for the businesses. Is that what you're saying? Somebody goes and develops. Where have you got this in mind? When you all bring this stuff down here to change something, somebody, some developer has come in here and asked you to do this so they can do what they want to. That's really what bothers me. They need to show up and present it instead of going to city and get the okay. Mixed use does that affect everybody? This policy right here changes the whole city ordinance. Is that true?
No, excuse me, Ms. Reed. This is only for C6 Village Business Districts.
It's only for what?
Yes.
It's not for office, restaurant, retail.
Village Business C6 districts. And I'm going to ask Ms. Jordan to explain
Thank you.
the process on this.
Thank you, Ms. Watson. We're responding to, many changes in the way we develop throughout the city. This is a smarter way to look at parking. Staff has been looking at best practices from all over the country, and this matrix is one that we think will work well in the city of Huntsville as we continue to really encourage and have more mixed-use developments throughout the city. So it's not in response to, I'm not really sure about Mrs. Reed's concern about it being for any one business. It's for the overall development of the city as we move forward and being more sensitive to not over parking developments.
I would comment too that throughout the years I've heard many complaints about the seas of parking that empty parking many times around businesses, because and it, to me this looks like an effort to figure out something that will work to eliminate that problem.
Okay. Well, let me ask you something. With Stone Middle School over there, with all them businesses in that place right there, do they have enough parking for what all of those businesses or area? Or are we shrinking that to combine to help some people? This really concerns me. Have we already checked that everybody over there's got enough parking for everywhere and everything? This concerns me because you come out, I used to own a business, and man, you measure the signs, you measure the business, you measure the parking. God help us. This whole city has changed since then. You can do anything you want to pretty much. I'm saying, I know we do this for a reason, but It concerns me that we're shrinking everything. Maybe we need the business. Go ahead and do what you're gonna do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Is there any further comment on zoning ordinance amendment, shared parking? Hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed. Ashley, do you have anything else? That's it? Okay, thank you. Our next item of business is subdivision committee report. Collins, would you give us subdivision committee report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. Subdivision Committee held a meeting on June 15th, and these are our recommendations. Item number 1, Caldwell Lane subdivision, a minor. The committee recommends layout approval on 2 lots with a waiver on the non-perpendicular lot line between lots 1 and 2.
Do I hear a motion?
Question. So we're just
Let's get a motion and second first, and then we'll have discussion. I heard a motion. Do I hear a second? Oh, okay. Now, Carlos.
so all we're doing here is we're dividing these 2 lots. That's it right now.
Correct.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, why would anybody build anything in a flood zone?
That is the risk of a private owner.
Oh, all right.
And just to be verified, the lot line runs down the 100-year floodplain.
That would be correct. As
Right.
I can show you from the interactive maps
Right.
that the dark blue is the floodway, and this is the boundary, and that line is just approximately 5 feet off of the floodway.
Thomas,
Yes, sir.
on this map, don't change. The light blue is the 100-year, correct?
100-year and 500-year combined.
The light blue.
Correct.
So does that if I'm looking at this correctly, the houses that are on the left side of this street are already built in the 100-year.
They have a base flood elevation established by engineering, and that is 1 foot over the 100-year floodway elevation.
So this is already in.
Correct.
Okay. And then the stub road that's there in the middle, would that potentially be the access point for this new lot?
No, that's not frontage. It is a stub road that comes short of entering the property. And for a property to be subdivided, it has to have street frontage. And for that road to be constructed, it has to be at least 20 feet into the property to allow for the street frontage to occur at the stub road point.
So then that's not feasible. So at best, meeting everything you just said, then you could build 2 houses, probably just 1.
I can't discuss a hypothetical on that because it is only being subdivided for 1 lot. Yes, there are potential for this frontage along Caldwell to be subdivided again to multiple lots, but that will require an additional subdivision, which each individual will be notified for the surrounding property if such was to occur.
But then do you meet the 20-foot?
The frontage would require along Caldwell Lane at that point. So Caldwell Lane has approximately 150 feet along the frontage of this particular street. Going back to the plat. Actually 569.62 feet. 355, sorry.
Okay.
351.
And in the second lot, there, the larger one with the floodway in it.
That will remain as
That cannot, nothing can be constructed there. Is that true? Is that? right.
Not to say nothing can be constructed there. A home can, in most cases, a home cannot be constructed in that particular property. It is floodway. It remains floodway. We have regulations against subdividing the floodway, so therefore it remains intact as a floodway.
And
There are stipulations that can be placed where that a FEMA letter of a letter of map revision. So a study could be done to therefore reduce the floodway boundary and increase the property to be divided and subdivided later. But the cost of doing a letter of map revision doesn't seem to be feasible for one to seek to develop the floodway in this case. Yes, things could happen and ponds could be dug to therefore alleviate some of the flooding done, but in this case, that's not what's occurring.
My question is more so about for engineering in reference to the flooding that occurs on Caldwell Lane every time a heavy rain comes. Are there any contingency plans in place to address that flooding concern along that roadway? Is anybody from engineering here to answer that question?
Yeah, Mike Malaris with City Engineering. I have seen Caldwell Lane with holding a lot of water, and I was actually going to discuss that with our drainage section this coming week. I do think it's one problem, but really a separate issue. The issue of the roadway flooding is something that we can look at. What's proposed here today, the subdivision of the property. It's just separating that parcel from the floodway.
Okay, partially answered the question. The question again is, are there any contingency plans in the future to address the flooding on Caldwell Lane?
And just to help Mr. Malaris, earlier this year the commission saw a new subdivision to the east here, Nature's Cove, and it's going to connect to the existing old Hampton Cove subdivision, which will allow for relief if the road were to flood to the east to get back through Hampton Cove to then get the eastern bypass in a worst case scenario. So there are contingencies in place for people to get out of their subdivision if the road were to, water were to come up over the bridge there as it's done.
Thank you.
Any further comments from the Planning Commission? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chairman, this is also presented for final approval on 2 lots.
Do I hear a motion? Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2, HOBBSTONE subdivision. The committee recommends layout and preliminary approval on 67 lots with a waiver on sidewalks along Redstone Road from lot 60 west of lot 47, and with the following modification: cul-de-sac length to 1,031 feet along HOBBSTONE Circle, 917 feet along West Winfield Circle.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, the homeowner that spoke about the sloping and the fence issue, Thomas, can you point out, not sure if the resident can show us on this map where their home is in relation to the development?
Approximately between lot 25 and 27 would be his home.
Okay. I'm not familiar with the slope reference, but with the fencing requirements, would it be possible to raise the fence from where it drops off and not from the lower slope of the property? Would that address his issue about privacy?
I think in this area, if I could reflect to Mr. Hoover, that Mr. John Hoover, the engineer, that this is essentially works as a, I think, a drainage action. So there's some drainage within this common area, while it's lower than the homeowners. This allows for this particular property to drain, and it actually brings it. I think the common area is within the flood fringe as well. So this common area is within the flood fringe, where that the rest of the property is not. So that's one of the other reasons why this common area is kind of left out of the development of the property and put into a common area for drainage purposes.
So what I'm not hearing though is so the gentleman's question about the fence issue, would taller trees help, or would that be an obstruction of the flow of the water, or?
To a degree, yes. Some additional trees would be an obstruction to the flow of the water.
Could you just put some trees in your yard?
I already have trees growing in my yard behind the fence, but because it's 6 feet lower in elevation than my backyard, those trees would be really big and really tall to provide any shelter.
Yeah.
And my 6-foot fence, I would run over. If I had a 12-foot fence, then it would block the view, but you don't want a 12-foot fence.
Yeah, yeah. I think with the topography, there's probably, other than plant trees, there's probably very little that can be done about that. And
I would like a tree buffer planted in that common area.
well, as you just heard, it can obstruct the flow of water, and you know it's partially designed to get to aid in the flow of water there. So you wouldn't want that to happen, because you know that's that can cause problems all around if the water can't get out.
And trees have to grow. I mean, can you buy 12-foot trees already?
And
It's
as
not
far
like
as I
Disney,
know,
right?
yeah, as far
Okay.
as I know, we don't have any regulations requiring them to plant trees.
Not
in-
between these,
in-
but these two particular
in
zones.
that particular configuration between the lots.
So my concern is obviously this gentleman is here tonight, but upon build out, the residents then in lots 15, 16, 17 would have possibly the same comment then looking his way. They would be able to see just as much into his yard as he will be able to see into theirs, based on the way this is looking on this map. So how do we head off a potential issue now as opposed to possibly later?
With the property in question, there is a significant elevation difference, yes. Is there any plans to bring that particular elevation up? No, not at this time, so.
May I speak? About the only way to change the elevation would be to put it in culvert instead of a flume and bring the grade up to it. And that's the law.
I think as long as the developer has met the engineering requirements and subdivision requirements, you know, to add, I just don't think that we have the ability to require him to plant trees, other than where he's bordering on there's some landscape requirements where he's bordering on a street, but or has double fronted lots, but we, you know,
Are there any?
aren't any for that area.
Do we know if are there any existing trees there now?
I think so, yes.
On my property, there were some trees along where the slope changes, and they came and took them all down.
Okay. Is the developer here? Do we know?
The engineer of record is.
Okay. Can the engineer speak to that?
Yeah,
Would you give your name and?
Name is John Hoover. I'm with Goodwin Mills and Kaywood. The developer, he just bush hogged it. There was just small trees growing. He just bush hogged.
Is it possible that the homeowner and the engineer could get together and maybe they could work that out? And we can
Well,
go
I
on?
think
Be glad
we've
to.
got a motion on, I mean, maybe they can do it later, but we've got a motion on the floor that we need to proceed, so,
Right.
yeah, he's met all his requirements to get to this point, and trees are the, you know, what, the views from adjoining properties aren't within our subdivision regulations, so.
Madam Chair, if I may, what we're talking about right now, it is not germane to this item right before us. That, you know, it might be able to be worked out at a later date,
Yeah.
but
Thank you, but we need to proceed. So, is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3 is McMillan Cove, McMillan Place Phase 5 is presented for final approval on 13 lots.
Second?
Can't do that with this one, which I should.
Is it in order for final approval, Michelle?
yes, it's in order with improvements to be installed by June 16th, 2017, and with sidewalks to be installed by June 16th, 2018.
Move to approve.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 4, Mill Run Phase 4, re-subdivision of Mill Run Phase 3 of Hampton Cove. The committee recommends layout and preliminary approval on 2 lots with a waiver on the angle of side lot line between lots A and B and the non-perpendicular lot line between lots A and B.
Do I hear a motion? Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chairman, this is also presented for final approval on 2 lots.
Is it in order for final approval?
Yeah, it's in order with improvements to be installed by June 28th, 2017.
Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a motion in a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 5, Oak Grove at Farley Farm Phase 7 is forwarded without recommendation pending review of a buffer screen planning plan by the city landscape architect.
Michelle, do we have that?
Yes,
And has
it is
been-
now in order for preliminary approval on 23 lots.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6, Parkside Town Center Phase 3. The committee recommends layout and preliminary approval on 2 lots with a waiver on the angle of the side lot line between lots 1 and 2.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 7, VIDUTA Village Subdivision. The committee recommends layout and preliminary approval on 21 lots.
Move to approve.
Is there any discussion?
In reference to, I know the lady had some comments about speeding and the trucks in that particular area. The precinct commander in that particular area will probably send one of his community resource officers out, make sure we speak with the foreman that will be over that project, and we work with them to make sure that the drivers are driving their vehicles appropriately. If that action does not work, then we come out and we do some enforcement on that. So we definitely will keep an eye on that situation, and we do that all over the city. And so this will be included in that particular plan.
Thank you, Jeff. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
The street name change, Chase Farm Boulevard to 1 Aviation Way. The committee recommends approval of said street name change.
Second.
Any discussion? I'd like to commend the city on making a street have all the same name from beginning to end. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Right-of-way vacation, a portion of McMillan Road, McMillan Place, Phase 5. The committee recommends approval of said vacation.
Any discussion? We haven't seen this before. We've seen it in subdivision committee, but I don't think the full panel has seen it. So will you explain it to us?
Within the McMullen Cove development, there was a original road of McMullen Lane, which was the right-of-way from Little Cove Road all the way to the rear of the property. Throughout the development, we have vacated these particular roads for the further development. And as new roads are constructed, these particular portions of these roads are vacated to allow for the lot development to comply with zoning.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, we did have a motion on that. Do we have a motion? We do. Yeah, motion say. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Gary Whitley, would you do the zoning committee report for us, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
The zoning committee met on June 8th of this month. Item number 1 is the WYNN rezoning. The public hearing was held this evening.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is zoning ordinance amendment, plan development shopping center and highway business deletion. Delete zoning ordinance Article 32, plan development shopping center district regulations, Article 33, plan development highway commercial district regulation, and amends Article 70, off-street parking and loading requirements, subsection 70.1.3, minimum parking space requirements, to remove language concerning planned shopping centers. Public hearing was held this evening.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3, zoning ordinance amendment, shared parking. Amend Article 27, Village Business C6 District Regulations, Section 27.5, off-street parking and loading requirements, to add language concerning shared parking. The public hearing was held this evening.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4, Meadows rezoning. The committee recommends that the Planning Commission set a public hearing for July 26th.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5, Seegers rezoning. The committee recommends that the Planning Commission set a public hearing for July 26th.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6, zoning ordinance amendment, special exception, private schools and other child care facilities. Amend Article 92, Board of Adjustment, Section 92.5, powers and duties, subsection 92.5.3, permitted uses as special exemptions, by amending subsection 92.5.3.12 to update language concerning private schools and other child care facilities. The committee recommends that the Planning Commission set a public hearing for July 26th.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Gary. Michelle, would you do the item 6, invocation and extension of bonds?
Yes, Ms. Watson, staff recommends the invocation of items 1 through 13.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That concludes our business, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you all very much.